How's it going?
Hey, good. How you doing, sir?
Not bad, not bad.
It's nice to meet you. I appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to meet with us
Not a
today.
problem, not a problem. How much time did you say you needed?
I probably need about 20 minutes, and if you have some questions or want more clarification, maybe
Okay.
a little bit more time. Does that work with your schedule?
Yeah, I get 20 minutes.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right. I know you spoke with Leo the other day, and he mentioned that you guys were working on evaluating maybe health insurance right now for the group. I'm not quite sure where you're at.
Actually, what I said, he called and asked about employee benefits.
Okay.
And I said, we do okay, but we don't provide any
Sure.
benefits. And I said, if we did, we'd probably want to provide health first.
Yeah, that seems to be the common one
Sure,
that everyone
absolutely.
wants to get tackled first. What's prevented you guys from putting health insurance in at this point?
Well, we're not exactly a new company, but we haven't been around for that long.
Okay. So,
And quite honestly, health insurance is expensive.
yeah.
And I actually pay my people pretty well.
Okay.
So far, no one's really been clamoring for it.
Sure.
You know, it hasn't come up that often, but every once in a while, when we have group meetings, and someone will ask about it.
What do you guys do here?
We're actually, it's sort of interesting, we're a technology/marketing company,
Okay.
is what we do. So basically what that means is that we'll build websites for clients, but they're more oriented to marketing for those clients, and then we'll actually run web-based campaigns and that sort of thing. So
Okay.
you can call it sort of technology/advertising agency, but
Okay.
strictly for the web.
Okay. I know I have several clients that are kind of in similar related fields, and I know that their industries are very competitive with the talent that they seek. Is it the same situation for you guys? Is it a situation where if you see somebody you really like, you have to pursue them aggressively, or is it?
Well, actually, you're right. For developers in particular, and for people who actually know something about search engine optimization, you've got to pay those people
Sure.
well. It's very competitive for that. And that's why we pay those people well, quite honestly.
Yeah.
And they tend to be a lot younger, as you can imagine.
Sure.
So as a general rule, what they're looking for is salary, and that's where our bias has really been to pay people as much as we can afford.
Sure.
You know, they really don't come in the door asking for benefits. as a rule.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. One of my groups is a developer. They develop software for banks actually. And one of the things when they came to me, they basically said, you know, we were competing for some top talent, so we really wanted a plan design that was very aggressive in nature, that provided a lot of rich benefits, and for them, cost was secondary to the quality of the benefits. So whenever we're designing a plan for somebody, we always like to take into account, you know, the external factors that you guys are facing, and your hiring processes, and what the market's demanding from you guys for your employment side. So that's definitely interesting and good to know exactly what you guys are facing. So how long have you been in business? You mentioned that you've only been in business a short
3
time.
years.
3 years, okay.
Yeah.
And how's the market been treating you?
It's been pretty good,
Okay.
because what we do is still relatively new,
Yeah,
you know, relative to other businesses and other industries. And if you think about web-based marketing and now mobile marketing, that sort of
Mhm.
thing, it's still relatively new as it pertains to ad agencies, you know, so because of that, there's growth, there's opportunities
okay.
for growth.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering is
Yeah.
if you guys have started, I mean, you guys started at a tough time in the market, so obviously, and if you're doing well, that indicates that there's definitely a need. So do you foresee a lot of employee growth in the next few years, or?
You know what? I don't know that we necessarily will. We've got 13 people right now.
Okay,
And, you know, the fact of the matter is a developer can work on multiple projects at the same time. And the good news is if, for example, we bring on a client who actually needs e-commerce, then even though we say we provide that, we outsource that to
Okay.
people who can build shopping carts and things
Sure.
like that. And we'll just, you know, charge a premium over that. So our developers really focus on building a website that's basically brochureware, and then building an ad campaign to drive traffic to the site, and then ultimately drive customers to that particular company that we're working with.
okay.
So that doesn't tend to be something that requires you to hire a lot of people, and that's you know, it's good, because quite honestly, you know, I need to focus on the bottom line. And as I said, you know, my biggest cost is payroll,
Sure.
because I've got to pay my people well.
Yeah.
You know, so.
So over the next few years, we don't see employee growth, you know, at a rapid clip or anything that's going to.
Well, you never know, but I don't foresee exponential growth.
Okay.
I see incremental growth in terms of my guys. Quite honestly, the first thing I would do is determine how much capacity each developer has
Sure.
and how much it would cost me to get more out of them. You know, so I'd be willing to pay overtime, have guys come in on Saturdays, pay bonuses and things like that.
So we really are trying to just keep it really tight knit to kind of the group that we have right now and work within the confines, and then if we get pushed at a certain limit, we may expand at that point.
Right,
If I understand what you're
kicking
saying.
and screaming.
Okay, yeah, I understand. All right, so, you know, the reason why I ask some of these questions is it kind of gives me clarification around, you know, what your needs might be now going forward in the future, obviously, and what some of the things that might be appropriate for your particular situation are. And, you know, you mentioned that you don't have people clamoring for benefits right now. Have you had any issues where we've had anybody disabled or catastrophic issues or any issues with the employees as of late?
No, we haven't. No, we actually haven't had that. Having said that though, this is sort of a catch-22.
Mm-hmm.
Because as I mentioned, most of our workforce is relatively young.
Sure,
They're
yeah.
guys, colleges, and so as a result, they're pretty healthy. A lot of them aren't even, you know, a lot of them are single, that sort of thing, so it's not a big deal. However, the one thing that does cross my mind is, you know, what these guys do on the weekend.
Sure,
So
yeah.
I'm always sort of worried that somebody's gonna wreck their motorcycle or, you know, go
Be
out.
out doing wheelies.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
You know,
I know.
bungee jumping or whatever the heck.
Yeah,
So I am concerned about that.
yeah.
you know.
Oh, I share your concern. It's definitely something with the young kids, they don't tend to get sick, but it's the accidents that usually get them, and it can be very costly for them. Especially if you have somebody that incurs a lot of debt, you know, and that really affects performance in the long run. I think for some of your top talent, if you were to have one of them injured and they've got a lot of bills, you know, their mind tends to maybe be other places than at work.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
you know, benefits can help alleviate some of those concerns. So definitely would like to maybe evaluate the effectiveness of what we're proposing and see how that might work for you. What are some of the other concerns that you guys have had recently as far as your talent, maintaining your talent, keeping your talent? Is there anything else that you see out on the horizon that you may need to address to keep those folks happy?
You know, right now, it seems like the only two factors that are concerned to, you know, primarily my developers are having work that they enjoy that's interesting.
Sure.
And so far that's been the case, and actually being well compensated to do that work.
Okay.
You know, and just maintaining a sort of a fun,
Mm-hmm.
you know, vibrant environment.
Sure.
And as long as we can do those things, they seem to be, you know, completely happy.
Okay. So, you know, after we've talked about a couple of these items, it sounds like health insurance is kind of up there, but it's not right at the top of the priority list just yet for you. Is that basically due to the cost concerns around the cost of insurance at this point in time?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's, you know, because I've got to consider, you know, what's the total cost of an employee.
Yeah, sure.
I probably mentioned that nauseam. I do like to pay my people very well.
Mhm.
And so if I'm considering the fact of having to actually add the cost of benefits on top of a you know, really aggressive salary,
Mhm.
then that's of concern to me.
Sure.
You know, so that's something that I would be convinced some of my staff out there
Yeah.
horsing around.
They were rowdy kids.
Exactly, yeah, young kids. You know.
So if we were to able to maybe come up with a proposal that wasn't, you know, too strenuous for your pocketbook, something that we could come up that kind of is a good, maybe in-between fit, where it's not a super rich benefit, so it doesn't cost us a ton on premium, but it still provides that catastrophic coverage for the employees, as we discussed, that could be a potential liability for us, or a potential liability for our employees. If we could come up with a plan that would kind of fit the bill of bridging the gap between those two areas, would that be something that you would be interested in looking at further?
Well, yes.
Okay.
That said, what are we looking at in terms of a range of costs? We've got 13 people, obviously,
Sure.
to cover everybody. So what are we looking at, basically?
You
Just
know,
round numbers.
yeah,
So
if
I don't
we-
want you to waste your time.
If we, you know, kind of given the criteria that we've discussed, what I'm thinking is maybe an HSA plan might be appropriate for our situation. I'm not sure if you're familiar with a health savings account, high
I've heard of
deductible
them,
plan.
yeah, I've heard of those.
Basically what it is it's you offset a little bit of the cost up front to the employees. Basically they have a higher deductible, but once they hit that deductible, they're covered 100% for all their medical costs. And what that does is it generally, for a young healthy group like ours, keeps their premiums down. So, you know, we're talking for an employee age 25 roughly, right now what I'm seeing with some of my groups is right around $160 to $175 a month to cover an employee like that, 25-year-old male. So it's pretty affordable. You as the employer are only responsible for a minimum of 50%. You can go higher, but that 50%
So in other words, they
contribution
could pay
is
maybe about $60-$70
exactly,
towards that.
yeah.
That's not bad.
So I mean, if you got, you know, you're paying your folks, you know, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year, it's really a small amount to just ensure, you know, you've got a good health plan for them, and it's another selling point for you when you're competing against maybe some of your competitors out there in the marketplace. I know you said salaries first and foremost, but the health benefits will actually be a huge shot in the arm for when you're putting it out there in the paper or when you're recruiting through, you know, Career Builder or wherever you get your talent. It's a good thing to have.
Well, quite honestly, if we're looking at, just to sort of give you a range, we're looking at, out of our pocket as a business, between $60 and $150 per employee. That's not horrible.
Okay.
That's something. Now, let me ask you this, 'cause,
Sure.
you know, I heard a lot about this Obamacare.
Yeah.
What impact does doing this have on what comes in a couple of years? I guess 2014,
Sure.
things are gonna change for
Yeah.
us. If I do this, am I covered at that point, or will I have to change this out and do something else?
Now, you know, for your size group, you said you have 13 folks right now, so is that the total number of employees? Do we have any ancillary staff or anything?
No,
Okay.
when, as I said before, when we actually need more capacity for things that we really don't wanna do.
Just kind of farm
we
it out.
outsource it, yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah, under 13, there's actually an incentive for you as an employer to provide benefits to your employees. There's a
Right.
35% tax credit, up to a 35% tax credit for your employees. Now, the caveat to that is that tax credit starts to phase out for your employees that you're paying $50,000 or more.
We're not getting it.
So, okay, so, yeah, there may not be a whole lot of incentive for us on the tax credit side, but you've still got the tax write-offs that you can take advantage of for providing benefits to your employees, so. Exactly, as an expense to you as the business. So there is, you know, there is a trade-off there. Obviously, a tax credit would be more advantageous, but it's still a write-off is helpful, and we're still getting the value of being able to add benefits to our program.
All right. Well, now, let me ask you this, because we discussed, you know, roughly what the premium will be for us, that's how much it's gonna cost us, but as a practical matter, what's my all-in cost for doing something like this? In other words, am I gonna have administrative headaches
Sure.
that's gonna cost me something? Are there gonna be additional regulatory headaches? You know, so what's, you know, over and above what we pay for the insurance?
Yeah,
What else is
what
it
are
gonna
the
cost on the
associated?
business?
For you, luckily, being a small group, you're gonna be limited in what your exposure is to having a lot of those ancillary costs. You're not in a position where you'll have to hire a TPA to manage the billing, anything like that. Third-party administrator, basically, they just help with the billing and things with large groups, and if you're doing complex plans, they can help with those kind of issues. With the HSA, it's pretty darn straightforward. You can contribute to a health savings account for the employees, or they can do it themselves. It's not something that you're obligated to do. But the cost of the plan itself is minimal. You just pay that plan each month, collect the deductions from the employees' paychecks. If you're doing 50%, you collect that 50% from them, remit to the carrier each month. As long as you do that, that's about all your
And now we
maintenance is.
use ADP to handle all the payroll.
Then you'll just send over a deduction sheet to them, and they'll be able to submit that to that payroll company. They'll take the deductions from the employees, and then you just pull that money out of the general operating account and remit premium to the carrier.
And I suppose they're gonna charge us a little extra to do that, I guess.
No, well, ADP may, I don't know. They usually have a specified number of deductions that they'll allow you to have
Call
before
them,
they,
yeah.
before they start charging you, so.
Yeah.
So what I'd like to do at this point is I'd like to run quotes from all the major carriers.
Okay.
I just need to get a simple census from you, basically genders, dates of birth, if anybody wants to add dependents, their children, anything like that. I'm gonna go back to all the carriers, run quotes with them,
All right.
and then what I'd like to do is set up a time to come back and show you the results of what those quotes were based on. And that basically our demographic information, they'll give us a reading of what that information looks like cost-wise.
Well, why don't we do this?
Mhm.
You seem pretty convinced, based on what I told you, that
Sure.
HSA is the way to go.
I think it sounds like a good solution right now at this point
Sounds
for our
reasonable to me.
demographic, yeah.
Um, unless you think that there's a big difference between the carriers, why don't you pick the plan that you think makes the most sense?
Sure.
Because you already know what my
Kinda
cost
where we're
card,
at, yeah,
criteria
sure.
is, that sort of thing.
Sure.
So just, because you know I'm tight on time. So pick the plan you think makes the most sense. Pick the company, the carrier that you think makes the most sense. And then give me a call, and then you explain to me why it makes sense.
Okay, sure.
And then we'll make some decisions.
Sounds
Okay?
great. I'd love to do that.
Okay,
All right.
good.
I'll have Leo give you a call and reschedule another
Okay.
appointment, and I'll give you a call once I have those quotes back in. So,
Yeah, it sounds good.
all right.
Sounds good.
Thanks,
I
sir.
appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
All right. Cut.